So another thing that you're going to be able to do from the profile area under preferences is add the prospect to a wait list. Why would we want to do that? Well, let's say that we have a prospect who's interested in a specific unit. The unit is not going to be available for a couple of months. What I can do is add Taylor to my wait list. Now, all that does is it puts her on a very specific list that I can easily get to utilizing some criteria in the prospects tab. We're going to talk about the prospects tab in our next class in advanced, but that easily kind of gives her that distinction so I can easily find her later on. Now, adding her to a wait list does not automatically remove her from the pipeline. So if we wanted to add her to the wait list, but also want to schedule a future follow-up, we're going to be able to do both. So just know you can add a prospect to a wait list as well. All right. Now, the very final thing that I wanted to mention before we get out of our guest card is how to merge duplicate prospects. So I'm going to just update this information right here. All right. So if a guest card exists in the system that has matching information, phone number or email to another guest card, I am going to get this message above my profile area, possible duplicate found. So it's going to alert you if another guest card exists with that information. Now you have two options. One is I can dismiss it. Maybe, you have a married couple, they share the same email, they share the same phone, you want two separate guest cards for each person. You don't have to merge them. You can dismiss. But let's say that we've gotten this message and I think that we do have an already existing guest card for this person and I want to merge them into one. What I'm going to do is click review and merge. That's going to push me through a nice little wizard. The first step is it's going to show me suggested duplicates. So do we have anybody else in the system that is matching? And again, it's looking for email or phone number. I'm going to click on that duplicate, suggested duplicate. That's going to highlight it green. That allows me to go to the next step. And that is going to give me the final step, which is to select the information we want to keep. So what I'm going to see is a side by side of both cards. And for each one of these categories or fields, I'm going to tell the system what is the correct information, what is the up-to-date information, what is the information we want to keep. So I have two different emails. Which one is correct? Maybe it's this one. I have two different first names. Which one is it? Maybe it's this one. And then we're able to move through selecting what's the information that, again, is up to date that we want to keep. Once we've made selections, now we can merge. The system is going to do its magic. It's going to bring us back. And now we're going to have just one guest card with all of the information. So what we've updated is the profile and preferences area. That has changed. Everything here in the guest card, it's going to merge both. So I'm going to see all of the events and details that occurred for Taylor in both of those cards. It'll merge it together. All right. Okay, any questions about anything that we've covered? I'm going to go back and see. Samantha asks, my access is admin access. How do I see my properties to-do list that look like what you're showing? You would access the CRM. So we're in the Knox CRM right now. So as an admin, what you could do is go to your integration tab in the admin area, and that's going to give you a list of all of the properties. And from there, you can access the CRM that way to look at the to-do list. Or you could also go to the users tab and log in as a user, maybe the house account, and you could also see that. Now we do have an administrative training session that you can enroll in if you need some more information about how to utilize that admin dashboard, but you can do it that way. Another question, how do I create a new prospect from scratch if they're a walk-in? So we're going to talk about that during the advanced class, but I'll give you a quick little peek. Here at the top of your main menu, you do have this little button. It looks like a little person with a plus sign. This allows you to add prospects manually, but we'll go into more detail about that in advanced. Another question, if you follow up with an email, does that reflect in our engagement score? Yes. So yeah, absolutely. So everything you do in the system, that is going to tack onto the engagement score. So when you send an email, when you send a text message, when you make a call, but the call has to be initiated from here, right? I have to click those phone call buttons here. When I do that, that's going to track. When I schedule follow-ups, when we schedule appointments, all of that activity, everything is going into that engagement score. In fact, I just did a couple of things and it already increased. So yes. Well, let's keep trucking along. Now let's talk about the cross-sell and 360 profile feature. So this is additional features that you may be utilizing in the guest card as well. This is available to everybody, but some properties decide not to use it. So it might be disabled. So let's talk about our cross-sell and 360. Basically, this is a refer feature that is available in the guest card. So let's go back in. And again, I'm going to go ahead and we'll use Cody here as my little guinea pig. So cross-sell or refer, what does that mean? This provides an opportunity to refer a prospect to a sister property. So let's say, we've talked to Cody, he's looking for something really specific. Maybe we don't have it at our property, but maybe another property is going to be a better fit. What I can do is I can open up his guest card, and at the very bottom, I'll have this refer area. This is going to list any properties that I'm allowed to refer him to. Maybe we think property B is a better fit. What I can do is click this little refer prospect button. It's going to open up this pop-up. We're going to enter the referral note. This is what's sent to our sister properties team. So maybe Cody's looking for a 3-bedroom, or there's something really specific that he's looking for. I'm going to add all of that into the note, and then I'm going to submit. Now, once you submit, this entire guest card is referred and syncs into the sister property CRM. So now they have all of Cody's information, and they're not starting from scratch, and they're going to see your note as to why he was referred. Now, you'll notice when I referred him, he's still active for me. So if I feel like, he's not going to be a good fit, we want to go ahead and remove him, I still have to mark him as lost, and we'll talk about how to do that in a few moments. Now, also what happens is when we do refer, you're also going to see a 360 type profile feature. Now that's going to be here in the middle of the guest card. Now all this does is when I open it, it's going to basically give me some history about this prospect. I can see, are they a current prospect at a sister property? Are they a current resident at a sister property? So it gives me a nice holistic view of this person's history in relation to our sister properties. So again, the refer that allows me to utilize our cross-sell feature, and then the 360 allows me to see kind of what the relationship is with other sister properties. Any questions when it comes to refer in 360? Ooh, Diana asked a great question. If leads stop coming in at 6 and the office closes at 5:30, does this affect the engagement score? So what's affecting the engagement score is your activity. So the engagement score stops at 6 p.m., right? So anything that happens after 6 p.m. is actually going to be tied to the next day's engagement score. So for today's engagement score, it is up to 6 p.m. and it's going to track your activity. Did you make a call? Did you send an email? Did you schedule a follow-up? Did you schedule an appointment? At 6 p.m., it stops tracking for that day, and then anything after is going to go towards the next day. It's a great question. All right, well, let's keep moving along. And now let's talk about the end of the prospect lifecycle. So we've taken a look at, of course, is how we're going to manage our prospect through the lifecycle and what's available to us in the guest card. But what happens at the end? What if we need to remove them from the pipeline? There's two ways that we're going to be able to do this in the system. We're going to either mark them as lost or NAP. Lost is for true prospects. NAP is for everyone else. Now, what I mean by that is when a true prospect decides not to lease with us, we're going to mark them as lost. But leads may come into the system that are not real prospects. NAP stands for not a prospect. So we're going to remove them from the pipeline by utilizing that. So let's go into the system and let's take a closer look. So again, I'm going to use Cody here again. I'm going to get into his guest card. All right. So let's say Cody here is a true prospect, right? He's come into the property. He's, toured a couple of units, but for whatever reason, he's decided not to lease with us. What we're going to do is we're going to open up his guest card and we're going to change his status. At the top right corner, you have a status dropdown and we're going to find lost. Now you'll notice that I also have an applied lost. So remember, your property management system is synced with NOC. So as things are changing, as statuses are updating in your PMS, we're going to see that here in NOC. So if they've moved into an applied status, now I'm going to see applied lost. And I would select that. I wouldn't just have the lost. So whichever lost option is available to you, that's what you're going to select. And then we're going to see this lost reasons pop up. Now, this is a very lengthy list of reasons why this prospect may have not leased with us. And we want to select the most accurate reason. So, maybe Cody didn't think it was close enough to some schools he was interested. Maybe we didn't have a dog park. You can choose more than one, and then we're going to save. It is important for us to enter a correct loss reason because this is also something that is going to pull into a report and is going to be very, very useful information for our management team. So we're going to enter the loss reasons, click save. Now they're removed from the pipeline. Now, let's say a lead comes into the system and after you give them a call or you investigate, it turns out it wasn't a true lead. Maybe it was a vendor who called a tracking number. Maybe it's a wrong number. Maybe it's just spam. In those cases, we're not going to change the status. Right next to the status dropdown, there's this little button. It looks like a person with an X. I'm going to click on that, and that is my not a prospect. So what was the situation? Were they a vendor? Is it an existing resident? Is it a realtor? Is it spam? Is it other? We'll choose the reason and we'll save. It is very important for us to select the NAP for non-prospects, again, for reporting. We want to separate true prospects from everyone else, from the not a prospects.